very sorry I have to say apologize to you because actually at first this woman was supposed to do this interview. She's a huge fan of FACTORY. She's a co-vocalist of my band SIGH.
Oh no!
But I'm sorry. She's a scientist and she's in France now for conference or something, which I don't understand at all.
Some science conference? Can I keep this?
Yes, of course. Awesome. Yeah, because she's a huge fan of FACTORY. So
that's too bad.
Yes.
That's too bad.
Too bad for her. Too bad for you too. I'm very sorry there.
That's okay.
Okay. All right. So this is your fourth time to be in Japan, correct? Probably.
Yes, fourth tour of Japan.
And last time you opened for Metallica.
Yeah.
I've heard that you've got a lot of some technical limits because of have to open for bigger bands. Is it true?
Well, they don't let you be as loud as they are. But they're not gonna let you use the entire PA. So but it's still fun to play. Open up for Metallica.
Cool. So this time, you're looking forward to do the full FACTORY show?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's gonna be a good time. Have a full set and a good sound man and a PA that will be very loud.
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to that. So what do you think about the Japanese audience? Are they quite different from those in Europe or in
it varies everywhere you go. I mean, the Japanese audience is always very receptive and they're always very gracious. And they do enjoy the music and they enjoy the show. And it's true wherever you go. I mean, some places are better, some places are worse. It's strange. Some areas are different. They react differently, but if they're there, if the audience is there, they want to be there. So that's what's important.
Okay. So I saw you live at Hellfest 2 years ago with Gene on drums. So for the new album, you chose to use the drum machine instead of a human drummer.
And this was something we were planning a long time ago, and we were talking to Gene about it as well. To just make things easier, to expedite the process, to make it go faster and easier. And Gene knows how to program drums as well, but it turned out that Gene wasn't able to do it because he was busy with Testament and doing that. He's got a lot of other bands, so we just went with our plan and still use the drum machine.
So didn't you look for another drummer, human drummer for the new album?
Not till after it was recorded. After the album was recorded, we decided to find a live drummer, to find a drummer to play the songs that all our songs play the set live.
So you had a machine drummer from the
it was programmed. Yeah, it was a programmed drums from the very beginning.
So it was your intention?
It was our intention, and the reason being is that over the years we've learned a lot about the recording process, and with the onset of Pro Tools, Pro Tools, if people are not familiar with that, that's a software that enables musicians to record. It's probably the number one software that musicians use to record in high-end studios these days, and it's been around for 15 years at least. We started using it on Digimortal, and over the records, over the time, we learned that every time we used a live drummer to record into Pro Tools, it took hours of painstaking editing to perfect the drummer, because a drummer will not be precise, and that's just the way human is. And so an editor will adjust every hit to make it precise, and that's just a waste of time. And we was like, well, let's just cut to the chase and just program the drums, and that way it'll be automatically precise.
Yeah, I know. But doesn't a drummer have difficulty in reproducing it? The program drums live.
Not if you find a good drummer. Mike Heller is a great drummer. He's a fresh talent, and we're very happy that we have him.
So he can make it.
Yeah, he says that we're still too slow for him.
So now, speaking about Pro Tools, I think the digital technology has evolved enormously for the last maybe 2 decades.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and for the bands like you yourself, so how did the technology evolution affect you? Because you never imagined you could do everything on your home PC 20 years ago. You never.
No, I never imagined that at all. And the only people that could do it at home was those who could afford all the software and all the gear.
Yeah.
And now it's commonplace to have it on a Mac, for instance. And it's changed. The only really way it's changed Fear Factory or Fear Factory involvement is just helps our recording process. It helps the recording process go faster. And we're able to record parts because Fear Factory, it's like a machine, and the parts of the songs are machine-like, and Dino's riffs are they're mechanical in nature, and so the drums always follow the guitar. So you just program the drums to what Dino's doing, and and then we record in parts, do parts, and you're able to. Now we're able to easily take parts and move them, and just edit or rearrange instantly to see how that sounds. And so it's made our recording and writing process so much simpler.
You can change the structure very easily.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's actually made things a lot easier for us.
So the new album sounds very powerful, but were you already confident that the album would sound like this during the recording?
I wasn't really considering how the record was going to sound. We were just more focused on getting the songs done first. We had a vision in our minds of how it would sound sonically, what we wanted to add to the sounds of the record, but I didn't. In the long run, I never thought that the record would just be like sound just like that good. And I'm very, very pleased with the outcome.
Okay, great. I agree with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, you are a pioneer of using a growl and clean vocal in one song. I think you were a pioneer, which a lot of new metal bands ripped off. So, where did you get the inspiration at first?
When we first started, when I first did it, we were writing a song called "Big God," and that's on Soul of the Machine. And Dino was playing this riff, and almost jokingly, I started to, instead of doing a heavy growl, I started to do almost like a Gregorian type of chant or a type of song, a type of singing aspect to it. And my inspiration was that I was been a huge fan of Godflesh for years, and on the first record, and Street Cleaner was out, but on Street Cleaner, he was even on the first one, self-titled Godflesh. Justin wasn't singing, but he was doing like this
quite different from growling singing.
Yeah. But he was doing this. It was more like a moan.
Yeah. Yes.
And like a moan of exasperation, of sighing, and that's what I was emulating. But mine more came out to be singing.
Oh, so Godflesh was a big inspiration for my vocal.
Absolutely, that was a huge.
I'm
still a big fan of Godflesh.
Oh, yeah,
and Justin Broderick. Everything he does is I love it.
I never thought about it. So I've read that you were singing U2 songs and Dino heard it, and I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, I sing to myself all the time when I'm by myself, and in the shower, or just working. I just like to sing to myself, and so he said he heard me singing one day in the shower, and it probably was a U2 song.
Yeah, and that was the reason he asked for you to ask.
Well, he just kind of, he just, I guess that was one of the reasons why he asked me to be part, let's start Fear Factory, or let's start a band together.
Okay. So your musical style has been very consistent. Of course it's evolving, but have you ever thought of doing something totally different? Because some bands try to change their music drastically, some to the better, others to the worse.
Yes. I've decided that if I was going to do something different, I wasn't going to change Fear Factory, but I was going to do something outside of Fear Factory to experiment with.
Okay.
And I have, there's my project Ascension of the Watchers, which is more of an ambient and more of a texture type of and melodic type of sound. There's another band, City of Fire, that I have that is more rock based. But I experiment with these bands, and then I'm able to take what I've experimented with and add to Fear Factory, but without changing Fear Factory, but adding to it things I've learned with my experimentation.
The core of the Fear Factory, which has to stay the same.
Yes, it does have to stay the same. It's Fear Factory has its own identity, and it has its own sound and strong identity, and that's what it's a style I still like in Fear Factory music, and it's a style our fans really like as well. And we don't want to alienate our fans, but we like to we would still like to introduce new things to them without losing the Fear Factory identity.
So probably I should ask Dino, but do you know which record store he was working in the 80s? Is it Rock Shop in Hollywood?
It was called the Rock Shop in Hollywood.
Actually, I went there several times in the 80s. It was some kind of culture shock for a Japanese like myself.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy place.
Yeah,
it was, he worked there from 87 to 90.
So maybe I met him.
He was a lot. He was a lot littler then. His hair was longer.
I bought tons of stuff there because in Japan there's maybe LPs for like $20 or $30, but when I went there it was like 8 or 9 bucks. So
it was super cheap. And,
and so many T-shirts
But this place was crazy. You walk in, and first they were blaring and blasting music first of all, and there was posters everywhere, and there was just bins and bins of records, and whatever you wanted you could probably find, and it was super crowded, and it was just amazing.
Okay, so it was crazy even for American people, not for the Japanese. I was not an exception.
It was crazy for it was if it was a culture shock for you to walk in, it was insane for anybody to walk in. People, a lot of tourists would go to Hollywood. I mean, it's right on Hollywood Boulevard, and right here.
And it's on 666.
Yeah, which is near the corner of Highland, and that's a real hub of a lot of people go there because the Chinese theater is right over there.
Yes.
And a lot of Fredericks and Hollywood was across the street, so there was a lot of traffic through there of tourists from all over the world and the United States. And so some rednecks would be walking in off the street into the Rock Shop, and they were going to be shocked by what they saw.
Yeah, it was great. Does it still exist?
No.
That's
too bad.
That's too bad.
Not many rock stores exist anymore.
No, that's too bad.
It is too bad.
Okay, so I've read in the interview that you were going to watch the movie Prometheus.
Prometheus, yes.
So did you see it?
I saw it twice.
How was it?
I liked it.
Really? Because in Japan, the reputation has been ambivalent. You love it or hate it.
Yeah, I've seen the same type of reviews, but I'm a fan of Ridley Scott. I'm a fan of science fiction, and I wouldn't say it's a prequel, but it's an alternate introduction to the alien legacy, and I think it was very interesting and added a whole new dimension to the alien legacy of where the alien came from. So the birth, of the birth of the alien, and how the alien came about, and of course, Ridley Scott always touches upon the philosophical as well, and almost religious, where these people, the people that created the alien, were the ones who created man, and so who created them is the question. So they left the story hanging. It wasn't a perfect story, but it was a great. I enjoyed it a lot. There was a lot of cool parts about it. There was a lot of good theories, and it was in 3D as well. And for a 3D film. It wasn't the kind of 3D that jumps at you like this, but it was in 3D where you just felt part of the scene.
Maybe a bit disturbing for Christian people.
Maybe, you know, it had its religious aspects, and it still left the question open that there is a higher power above everything else.
Because in Japan, you know, most of the people are atheists, so there is no.
Yeah, I'm not a Christian, so
you don't care.
It's not that I don't care, you know. I like to, you know, everyone thinks about where we come from, you know, and but I think about it in a more of a scientific type of way, and you know, and there's theories that are interesting to read and discover. So,
okay, thank you very much for the interview. So, if possible, could you give the Japanese fans any message?
Finally, good to be back here in Japan, and it's been way too long that Fear Factory has not been here. So. Thank you for getting us out here, and Fear Factory will be back again, hopefully, in the very near future.
Okay, thank you very much. It was a great answers.
Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.